everybody. Let's give it up for Michael Hawthorne. Michael, I want to sit next to you.
That works.
Okay, great. So Michael is the co-creator of Clean Energy Kulture. Michael, we're going to talk a little bit about the secret sauce of co-creation. And to do that, let's go back to your kitchen, okay? So tell me a little bit about how you got to Clean Energy Kulture, how your political and environmental movement building got you there, and even, let's see, enlightenment.
Yes, happy to talk about it. So Clean Energy Kulture was founded just under 2 years ago. Believe it or not, I come out of background. I worked in politics and worked for Vice President Al Gore's Repower America campaign. Went on to work for Greenpeace and a lot of major environmental groups. And so somewhere between that, I ended up working with rap artists. And so that landed me in the studio with who would become my co-founder, Mr. Hankey, who's behind some of the biggest hits. And I remember walking into the recording studio, and he was like, "Dude, you don't look like a rap artist manager." And he's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I'm an environmentalist." But the craziest thing happened is he stopped the entire recording session. Everybody was like listening to me talk about energy burden. And he was like, "Yo, how do I get in with this? This is dope. I see where this is going, and I want in." And that was the creation of Clean Energy Kulture.
And when we look back at things, I feel like you're maybe a bit of a philosopher at heart.
Yeah.
And so you and I have been talking about it's the time of the Enlightenment.
Yes.
You know, how are you figuring that into your calculus for putting together the Clean Energy Kulture work?
Yeah, so for us, what we see is a huge opportunity to address a climate crisis at scale. And we're seeing how there is a huge segment of Black pop culture that is just on the brink of really being drawn to this, but there's just been no connectivity or anything that really kind of put the emphasis in why people should create this clean energy lifestyle. And so for us, that was the aha moment. It's like we got to move to a point where people see this as a lifestyle. And when we do that, they can see visually and literally how this actually makes sense for my life. And so for us, that was the secret sauce, and knowing that we had to create something that people can actually embody in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, that's very much like that 17th century movement where feelings are the driver more than just linear thought.
Exactly.
I get that. And that brings us to SDG Lucky 13, as I like to call it, climate urgency. And this is where we're at today. So, what makes this the right time to be engaging culture for this movement?
This is the perfect time to engage culture. Most people think about culture in the sense that, when I think about I got to make investments in technology or I got to make investments in science, I always tell people, well, what accelerates that demand is culture. And so knowing that we have the impact goals that we need to make by 2030 from the Paris Accord Agreement, it's how do we make this shift, this huge shift in the time frame that we need to make in terms of reducing our carbon footprint. And so for us, we found a way to make it mainstream. And so by making it mainstream, then it starts to make sense with the people who will be the consumers of it, driving that change in behavior. And then that, for us, is leveraging that to create projects that we can actually implement in communities, creating this clean energy lifestyle that we want people to have access to.
Okay, well, this is great because these are not just dreams, Michael, that you are dreaming up. It's actually happening. This is future. We're not dreaming about the future. You have got future.
Well, for us, we see the opportunity to partner with mainstream artists, to partner with more importantly, cultural influencers, folks who have an authentic relationship with their fans, with their communities. And for us, it's how do we take this, not just from an inauthentic, let's get the person who's got the most votes in their camp, but how do people start to see this movement really start to lay out? And so for us, we want to be able to showcase what this lifestyle looks like.
Yeah.
And what we've seen through our experiences and our events is a huge gravitational pull. I mean, just from us just doing one event with Uber, just like lit up the whole entire city of Atlanta. So yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into it. So, electrify the club. Okay, so Michael, take me to Atlanta. Talk me through it. What's the experience, electrify the club?
So when I first came up with the concept of electrify the club, people thought it was crazy. Like, why would you electrify the club? Well, again, when we think about culture, right, and we think about, particularly Black pop culture, a lot of folks that are in that category like to go to the clubs. They like music. They like, sort of this lifestyle of parties. And so for us, it was a no-brainer, and we partnered with Uber. They provided like this discount code for people to take EVs to the ride, to the club. And so you had all these Teslas pulling up to the club, and it was insane. You had like, it was at a rooftop. The event sold out in like less than 2 days. We did no marketing. Word got out. The city of Atlanta, the chief sustainability officer was there. So many people from the music industry. It was wild. There was twerking.
Okay.
There was just like, it was a real party. And people for the first time was like, I've been hearing about this clean energy, but I didn't know it was like this. And it was just so many people coming up to us, just like, yo, this is so wow. Like, how do I get involved? How do I be a part? And, actually, we didn't even have answers. We were just like throwing a party. We just wanted to see how it was going to do. And the interest, I think in that one event, over like 300 people.
Who feel like now this is mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was the magic sauce. It's just seeing how people who have not traditionally been the audience for this clean energy movement are so about it now. And they're looking to us to say, hey, what's next? How do I get involved? How did I make this, part of my lifestyle?
I think it's a super interesting question. And, I wasn't even planning on that video. Can I, thank you. This is the image that I wanted. Okay. Who doesn't want this?
Yeah. Tricked out Cybertruck. Anybody ever seen Cybertruck? So the thing that I want, people to understand about the significance of culture in this movement and the power that it really brings is that even in Atlanta right now, there's so many people who are getting these Cybertrucks and they're tricking it out. It's almost like, if anybody remember the Fast and the Furious? Anybody remember Fast and the Furious?
Yes. Raise of hands, Fast and Furious.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. Yep,
So there's a whole underworld now that's tricking out EVs. And it's becoming a part of the culture. And that's the firepower that corporate brands have to be able to tap. And that's where we're going to accelerate the adoption and demand, because the consumer behaviors are already starting to show just through that image there.
Yeah, if people don't know, this is Rashad Harper. 2 million views. And this isn't like a side hustle.
No.
Like, people are following this, wanting to make it their own. Okay, so J. Cole, big rapper, artist, for anybody not familiar, talking about clean power. Tell me about this, please.
So for this, we wanted to showcase, got J. Cole sitting in this image of this house, and it's kind of like your grandma's house, right? And we wanted to show that, clean energy lifestyle with a K. It's not just this sort of lifestyle that's inaccessible, but it's accessible even down to your grandparents, right? But it's this cool nature of it. And so for us, it's wanting to showcase that we can do this at scale. We can literally electrify an entire city, which is the first project that we just launched in partnership with the City of Atlanta and a lot of other partners of the Hive Fund, to showcase that we can do things that makes it so cool, but at the same time, reach everybody in the community. And so that is a spitting image of what that showcase can look like.
What a win. And this is kind of what you're talking about, electrify the spot, yes?
Yes. So Electrify the Spot and Electrify the City is an initiative that Clean Energy Culture has launched officially. Starting out in Atlanta, we believe that we can add gigawatts of clean power to the grid, because we're going out, and we're recapitalizing businesses to give them an opportunity to install EV charging stations and solar panels in a way that is going to do it at a very fast pace. And then we're also throwing parties to help it make all cool.
Okay, so Michael, let's pretend I'm not cool. And like, how do you bring me along in this journey? Like, I'm a company, I'm like, I sell white socks, like sustainable white socks. How are we working together?
So first and foremost, it's about co-creating with the culture. So, the best opportunity is you can just reach out to us. We'll help you to co-create, take your existing IP and create something so dope. Think about, when you think about what this could look like, right? What's been done. Pharrell, he just recently did a Lego movie and then dropped a Lego collection. That is a prime example of like co-creation. Or, you kind of think about Supreme, what they did with Louis Vuitton, or, Adidas with Yeezy. So it's like you got these deals where these examples where if you do co-create with culture, you can accelerate so much consumer behavior because you have tapped in and created something with the articulators and the translators of the culture.
It also seems like these things are working because it's authentic engagement. It's not somebody coming at the last minute and saying like, hey, let me put your face on this thing.
Right. I mean, you think about Virgil Abloh, what he did with Louis Vuitton. That was a genuine relationship. It was him bringing to Louis Vuitton, sort of the cultural icons from music rappers to actors and actresses, and just like this whole community of stakeholders in culture to really drop lines. I think Tyler, the Creator, just dropped something with Louis Vuitton. So it's just like the opportunity is there, and if we're going to see the adoption change and facilitate this clean energy transition, then there needs to be a way for corporate brands to build sustainable. And if you don't get anything else I say, I'm going to say this. The corporate brands that take the time right now to invest in co-creating sustainable IP with niche target audiences is going to dominate the market for decades to come. And we're here to help you do that.
That's it. One more time for Michael Hawthorne. Thanks, Michael. Let's go.